Hey, this is Andrew, and I am bringing you another Keyforge deck review. This one is of Taban, Trooper of the Belligerent Bunker. It is Sanctum Untamed Dees. I acquired this one at a sealed auction pod event at Gen Con Indy, and I just had a conversation with Alex Watkins where I said, hey, I think there's something I don't really like about the way that y'all do sealed auctions, and I think there's a better way. Can I tell you what it is? And he said, yeah, I'd love to hear it. So I told him, well, when you do sealed auctions, you randomly choose a player, and they have to bid 0 on the deck that they opened. And the problem with this is if you randomly open the worst deck in the group, and you randomly get picked first, then you're stuck playing the worst deck for 0 chains, which is fine, but you didn't even have a chance to try to get a different deck. And I don't think that's really fair. And I said to fix it, what I would love to see is randomly pick a player, and that player picks a deck to bid on, and they bid 0 on it, and then it goes from there. That way, if you get picked first, you have choice over what you're bidding for, and what'll tend to happen is that the theoretically worst deck, the deck that everybody agrees is worst, goes last, and somebody plays it for 0, but everybody bids some chains on the rest of the decks. So, he said, well, that's how I've always done it. I can't imagine it being done the other way, but maybe it got written up wrong. So apparently the way that I thought is the way it's actually supposed to be done. I just had never seen it done that way. So being at Gen Con, I said, well, hey, there's a bunch of great players here. I managed to rope 7 other of them into doing one of these pods with me. We did it with 7 really good players plus me, and did the auction. And the judge threw in one little hiccup right at the end, which is he said, hey, and also we found out you are supposed to take home with you the deck that you played, so not the one you opened. And so that was okay. That's interesting. And I ended up going for this one. I bid for it. As we went through the decks, I took some notes on what I thought each one was worth in terms of chains. And this one I ended up bidding on partially based on what I had decided in my notes, but also because I really wanted to take it home. I ended up going 2-1 with it, so I overbid on chains a little bit. And then I took it to play at what was supposed to be a chain-bound event. It ended up Gem wasn't working, so we went not chain-bound, and people just pulled out their best decks and played them with 0 chains, and it went 2-2 in that environment. So not top tier for sure, but went 2-1 with 8 chains in that auction pod, and I would like to bring it back to chain-bound at some point because I think it has quite a bit in it, maybe 6 chains, or maybe even into power level 2. So, with that said, this is Taban, Trooper of the Belligerent Bunker, Sanctum, Untamed, and Dees. We'll start with the Dees. We have Tourette. That's a decent Amber control. That's cool. Call of the Week. Tourette, of course, 4 power. When you play, you capture 3. Call of the Week. Bonus Amber, and when you play it, you destroy the least powerful enemy creature. Really nice. Lash of Broken Dreams. It's an artifact that exhausts to make your opponent's keys cost, or to make keys cost 3 more during your opponent's next turn. Not Finished With You is an action with a bonus Amber that when you play it lets you shuffle any number of creatures from your discard pile into your deck. How good that is depends on what creatures we have, but with Tourette, I'm already okay with it. And next we have 2 Shulers. I'm extra okay with it. Shuler is a 5 power demon that when you play it, says if your opponent has 4 or more Amber, you steal 1. That's fantastic. I like having 2 of them. And I like having 2 of them with Not Finished With You Yet. We have Tesmal, which is a 2 power imp with elusive that after it reaps lets you choose a house, and your opponent can't choose that house as their active house on their next turn. So it is the sort of like the opposite of Control the Weak on reap. Unlocked Gateway is Omega, and it's an action. After you play it, you destroy each creature and then end the step. Decent board control there. Pain Reaction is an action with a bonus Amber, After you play it, you deal 2 damage to an enemy creature, and if this damage destroys that creature, you deal 2 damage to each of that creature's neighbors. Interestingly, I found out recently, because damage is dealt simultaneously, if you were to, let's say there were an Igor next to an Archimedes, and you were to hit the Igor with pain reaction, because the damage is dealt simultaneously, oh no, they said because of the if. Never mind, forget this. The Igor would be destroyed first, but it's weird, and I hope they come out with that timing document soon. All right, Tentacus. This is great. 5 power, is a demon, and your opponent has to pay you an amber in order to use an artifact. It's a really nice, soft artifact control. I like it, and it's big, so it's annoying for your opponent to deal with. And then we have Ancient Yerk, which is a 6 power demon that on play lets you choose and has you choose and discard 3 cards from your hand. And I love the Yerks, so this is good. Oh, and lastly, in Dice, Tolas, which is a 1 power imp with elusive that says each time a creature is destroyed, its opponent gains 1 amber. That's fun. All right, now let's go to Sanctum. Lion Boutram, 4 power human knight with 1 armor, it has deploy, and its neighbors get +2 power. Blinding Light has a bonus amber, and when you play it, it's an action. You choose a house and stun each creature of that house. 2 copies of Bordan, who's 3 power human thief with elusive, and he can exhaust to capture 2. Child the Safeguard is a 4 power human knight with 2 armor, with deploy and taunt. Good to put next to something you want to protect, like maybe a Tentacus or a Tolas, if it's a Tolas game. Lion next to Chal is pretty cool, because then Chal is 6 power. Healing Blast is an action with a bonus amber, and when you play it, you fully heal a creature. If you healed 4 or more damage this way, gain 2. And so far we've seen 4 creatures in Dice that could potentially have 4 healed from them, and if you count Lion Boutram, then there's even more. We have Cermeros, who's 4 power, a human knight with 2 armor, and after your opponent gains amber by reaping, Cermeros captures it. We have Grey Rider, 2 power human monk with deploy, and after being played, fighting or reaping with Grey Rider, you can ready and fight with a neighboring creature. Really nice. Again, this is good next to something with taunt, so you can protect it a little bit. Hadroth's Wall is an artifact that says each friendly flank creature gets +2 power. This means you don't even have to have a ton of creatures for your creatures to be big. It's also good with Healing Blast. Then we have Prince Derek Unifier, who's a 4 power human knight with 1 armor, and after you play him, if you control creatures from 3 different houses, so that'd be Sanctum and 2 others, then you gain 3 amber. He counts during that time, so if you had like an untamed creature, a Dice creature, and nothing else, and you play Prince Derek, you will get the 3. Then we have Sigil of Brotherhood. It's an artifact with a bonus amber, and it has Omni Sacrifice it. For the remainder of the turn, you may use friendly Sanctum creatures. And we have a few so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's pretty good value. And then Begone. When you play it, you choose 1, destroy each Dice creature, or gain 1. We probably want to gain 1 if we have our own Dice creatures out, but depending on the situation, you might want to destroy them. Alright, Darna is good if we have damaged creatures. It's a 2 power elf witch, who on play gains you an amber for each damaged friendly creature, and after reaping heals 2 damage from a friendly creature. Then we have Nox, which is a 3 power beast that has +3 power for each neighbor it has. Persistence Hunting is an action with a bonus amber that tells you to choose a house and exhaust each enemy creature of the chosen house. Regrowth is an action with a bonus amber that says to return a creature from your discard pile to your hand, even quicker than not finished with you. And we have 2 copies of Song of Spring. This is a little egregious. They have bonus amber, that's good, and then when you play it, you shuffle any number of friendly untamed creatures from your hand, discard pile or battle line back into your deck. I think I'd rather have some more untamed creatures than one of these, but it's okay. Lifeweb is an action with a bonus amber that says if your opponent played 3 or more creatures on their previous turn, you steal 2 amber. And then this is why I really wanted to take this home. We have 2 Mimicries. Mimicry is an action that when you play it, you treat it as a copy of an action card in your opponent's discard pile. That's fantastic. And actually, one of the games that I lost when I went 2-2 local, it was because I got my Mimicries early when my opponent had no action cards in their discard pile yet, and that sucks. It can happen. Then we have Nature's Call, which is an action with a bonus amber that returns up to 3 creatures to their owner's hands. This is really good with the Schulers, for example, but it's also good for just removing opponent's creatures. Notice so far we have like 2 untamed creatures. That's a little of a bummer. We do have 2 more coming though. Pampaka Enga, which is a 5-power beast that says creatures to the right of it on the battle line get +2 power. It's also great with our Healing Blast. It means we have potentially a lot of big creatures. Good Grunt Buggy tech. If your opponent has a Grunt Buggy, this turns it against them. And then Talia is a 3-power human witch who says each time your opponent plays a creature, gain an amber. So what's cool about this? So I love just having the 2 Mimicries. I think that's a very strong card. Really nice to have, especially if you get it later in the game. It's not great early. Talia is really fun, and I've had some interesting situations where I get a Talia early and then a Tolos as well, and it means you're getting them coming and going, right? They play a creature, and then if you destroy it, you get another amber. So that can be pretty cool. The Schulers are good for steal. You have ways to recur them with both Not Finished With You and Regrowth, and even some steal and Untamed with Life Web, potentially. Board control with cards like Persistence Hunting, Maybe Be Gone, Fighting with Sanctum, Unlocked Gateway, Pain Reaction, Artifact Control with Tinnicus. Yeah, it's just it's a fun, strong deck that I think it has a little more potential than it's lived up to so far. But again, I think everybody was playing their very best decks that night. So would like to see how it does in actual Chainbound. Anyway, that was Taban, Trooper of the Belligerent Bunker. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure enjoyed showing it to you, and I hope you get out and forge some keys.